What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. So I'm going to be cutting out the full side of the Audi S8 using this light blue chrome. Again, you might notice that it looks kind of turquoise-ish. It's light blue chrome. Got a touch of green to it. It's nice, but that's what it's called. Don't forget to check out our website, ckwrapstoronto.com, to subscribe to our mailing list and sign up for exclusive offers and deals and discounts. Now, most of the products I'm going to be using today are going to be in the description below. We're going to be using chrome, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to use. So for some of you who are thinking about getting into something like this will kind of give you an idea of what it's like to work with. This chrome right here that I'm using is 54 inches, so it's not 60, which is your standard height for a roll. So that makes things a little bit more challenging when it comes to cutting out the entire side of the car in one shot. I'm pretty sure we're going to lose the lower rocker panel on this, because when I measured from top to bottom, basically the pillar to the bottom of the door was about 54 inches, so a little bit less, 52. So we're going to lose the side skirt in this, or the lower rocker. That means we're going to have to cut back into the roll the length of the rocker again. I'm most likely going to be able to get these rockers, they're very small, out of the rear bumper piece or the front bumper piece, or the combination of those two pieces together, since they're quite low. Now, I've done a couple of things here. We've masked off the chrome trim around the rear window here. The roof does not have a drip sill, like a drip sill trim, so it can't remove anything there, so that means we have to knifeless it. It does have a recess, which makes it perfect for the knifeless tape to fit into. Roof's already wrapped gloss black, and we're going to overlap it now facing the other direction with the chrome. I've put knifeless tape inside the rear door here. You'll see it later, I guess, but it's there. This is so that I can wrap into the door a little bit further, covering all the exterior, the silver that we might see from the exterior when the door is closed. And always I mask off the rear window, mask off the front fender, and I mask off the front fender below the pillar and the door side, because when I do the door, I don't want this chrome to stick to that chrome and cause damage. It's very likely that'll happen. Trunk I just kind of leave open. We've got a nice little trim piece in here to tuck into, and then mask off the bumper itself at the bottom of the quarter panel. As far as down there where the quarter panel meets the side skirt, I'm not too worried about it. It's going to be totally fine. So what we want to do is we want to prep our surface with isopropyl alcohol. I use 70%, nothing more, nothing less. It's just what I always use. You're welcome to use whatever you want. There's all kinds of prep solutions out there and stuff like that. Now, just what I've been sticking to now for like 7 years. I've also taken a compressor and blown away all the debris. This is a big piece of vinyl. After I roll this out, you know, this vinyl is up around, like just the vinyl itself for the side, probably around $600–700, maybe more. And we're talking Canadian dollars here. So we want to be careful. I have gecko patches down from Sidemaker Tools, because they actually help in this situation, especially if you're doing it alone. I have Kirsten here to help me. She's going to help me kind of like roll this out or hold it a little bit better, just because of the high risk of this falling. I do not want that to happen. So we're going to start getting it going here, and we'll get it rolled out. The gecko patches are good for when the vinyl is kind of stable. But for this part right here, while we're rolling it out, it helps to have the extra hands to give it that extra hold. Yeah, keep it tight, perfect. See this monstrous piece of vinyl? We do not want to drop this piece. I'm sure it costs more than $600. It was just a ballpark. Okay. So I'm going to go check Kirsten's end. Just don't pull it, because we don't want the roll to fall, but I want to make sure she's over. She's over quite a bit, which is good. You can actually, yeah, it's fine. I'll just cut a little bit less off of this end, and we'll be fine. And as soon as we do this, we'll be able to kind of lift the vinyl up, get it rested on top of the quarter, and right across the pillar, and then we'll be able to get it in its place. So I'm always watching, making sure that I've got exactly enough. Not exactly enough, more than enough. Oh, that's fine. It's all right, so we can lift it a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna come over there in a second. I'm just gonna place this down on the gecko patch. A little higher with yours. Yep, right up to the top, there we go. So it's important that we don't move this too much right now. I'm going to come up a little bit higher here, just to situate it right there. All right, you can probably let that hang because there is a gecko patch here as well, but the vinyl is so rigid that it's just gonna kind of hold itself there. Even if we just anchored it in the middle and it was balanced, it would hold itself there. So what's interesting is that this vinyl roll is brand new and there's like dust all over it. So if it didn't have the protective cap, that would really suck. So I can see right now that we've got to come down in the front a bit, which is fine. I'll just come up in the back and we'll level this out a bit. We can make adjustments as we go now. What I need to do is get this out of the way and tape it because it likes to unwind by itself. You can see yourself in there, right? Okay, so Kirsten, you can actually help me do this too. We'll ignore this one right now. We're gonna go back to the ends. Yeah, and you're gonna drop your side down. Cool. So we're gonna put all this in there. So you're just gonna drop your side down and then, yep, right around there. Let's see what's going on here. Let's come a little higher on my end. Somewhere around there, hopefully. We'll see. Where's my gecko patch? There we go. Yeah, hold it right there. Yeah, good there. Our door is pretty close. Our doors we can drop down from the pillar, so we'll do that. Let's see how we're looking now. It's more level. I'm okay with that because I know that I can't get my rocker panel out of the same cut. I'm gonna fold that over. Find it? Got it. All right, so here's the time where we're gonna cut all this out. I'm gonna cut out my doors first because, well, I'm gonna cut out the quarter panel, which is gonna cut out the doors and everything all at once, basically. What's gonna happen here is you're gonna have to hold, Kirsten's gonna hold the door panel because when I cut here, the gecko patch isn't gonna be doing anything anymore. We're gonna come down right underneath. So I'm gonna put one magnet here just for there. And you actually might be able to, actually move that one, there we go. There, we can hold it, perfect. So my gecko patch does kind of hold it. We'll just have the added reassurance of the extra two hands. So we're gonna find a window. Now you can mark it with like chalk or anything like that, marker. We're gonna be removing a protective cap, don't forget. So I'm gonna make sure that I have enough in the back here to maybe position forward, but I know that I have tons in the front right now because our door is right there. So I've got an extra like 8 inches. I can position the doors back. So I would rather lose the doors in this whole cut than the actual quarter panel piece, since the quarter panel piece is much larger. So again, we're gonna find the body line. Where is it? There's the door. Right there. Right around there. And then I'll have to actually peel some of the backing off here to make sure I anchor it. It's all good. Now what I'll do right now is I'm going to use my cutter. This is actually a very special cutter, so I can slide this cutter between the film and the release liner, and I can cut out a section of the film without, the section of the release liner without actually cutting the film. And right now I'm going to use this little strip that I just cut out right there to anchor it a bit right there. Now it's going to hold a little bit, but you know, it's going to help. It's going to help me right now. And also I'm going to look back here, and we're going to start getting some of this cut out. And it's maybe possible that I might be able to get the lower rocker out of this piece, but I'm kind of skeptical of that because I'd rather not lose the quarter panel. So I'm going to leave this, and we're going to go into the wheel well. Now with the plastic release liner, it does make it a little bit more challenging when it comes to cutting it. So I'm going to use that bit there that I pulled back to stick it to the car. And we're going to find, where does that quarter panel come down to? Right to the bottom, right? Pretty much like right there, yeah. So we're super close. So I'm not going to get the quarter panel and everything out of one shot. It's not possible. So I'm just going to try and save this piece of bit, or whatever. Put that in there. And then we'll finish off our door cut. It's hard to start and stop again, so just keep that in mind. Good. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to roll the doors up. And we're going to get this piece out of the way. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we maybe want to open the doors to do this because I have to open the door to wrap in, and the door's framed. So maybe it wasn't even any point in masking the door that's chrome trim. No, there is a point in masking the chrome trim, sorry, because the chrome trim stays there when the door is open. That's why I knew I was doing something here. I had a goal. I had a purpose. So you want to help me lift this a little bit. Yep. Just so I can open the door. Perfect, we'll get it back on here. Awesome. And then this door will also open. Actually, this door doesn't matter, that's totally fine, I can stay closed, I'm fine with that. And now, I've got a ton of extra film up here. Let's just trim it back a little bit as well. And then we're ready to rock as far as removing the release liner goes. With this, I'm going to try to lay down quite a bit of it without, again, removing the cap. Instead of just relying on the gecko patch, I'm going to use an anchor point with the film. Okay, making sure my position is still good. Can actually come a little lower. Come down a bit there. Cool. All right, so our focal point right here, right now, is this area right here. Kirsten, mind giving me a hand? Awesome. We're gonna take the film up to about here. I'm gonna trim off the release liner, and we're not gonna move this too much. We have to focus right here, make sure we got coverage. And I actually could probably swing it just like that a bit, okay. So I'm gonna start this, and if you wouldn't mind just holding it a bit in the middle on the pillar, that'd be perfect. Just press down on it with your hand, yeah, perfect. Just so it doesn't come off. Yep, and then I'll pass this to eventually. So if you can grab it, right there, yeah. And I'll hold this end, oh, perfect. Yep. So give me 1 second now. What I'm gonna do is put that down. I'm gonna see how we're doing as far as position goes. Yeah, you can actually remove your hand. And so what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna cut these two pieces off. I'm actually going to leave a section down here. This piece is gonna flop around a little bit, and I don't want it to get dirty. So I'm gonna leave that on as soon as I get this off, right here. Do you mind just pinching? Can you reach right there? Yep. Let's go here. There we go. So I can leave that piece there. Makes life a little bit easier. All right, Kirsten, so what we're gonna do is, we can kind of leave this like that. I'll just trim it off a bit more. There. We're gonna start somewhat around here. We wanna get this smoothed out right away. Still has the cap on, all right, guys? Okay, just watch that bottom. It would be the bottom piece that's gonna flop around quite a bit. Perfect. All right, and so I'm just gonna try and pivot this a bit and lay it across that panel. All right, let it drop down on your side. Just cut one more time, right around there. Somewhere around there. I want to find body line, which is right there. And we're going to have a look at what's going on. So, can I stretch into here? Well, probably not with the cap on, but with the cap off I probably could. But instead of doing that, we're going to actually just lay in from the top or the bottom. So I can either anchor it here and then start feeding in from the bottom, or I can anchor it here and then start lifting in and feeding from the top. Well, that piece is really long, so I'm probably going to do it from the bottom. So that's my thoughts on it right now. So we're going to lock all that in a bit. Don't want to put too much tension on it, just to hold it. And then Kirsten, you can also give me a hand here. Hold that end up. Perfect. So I want to lay right into this recess. Yeah, we've got to let it come down. So I'm going to have that beautiful line, tension line, roll that out. Perfect. Let that fall a little bit. And then over here we have this beautiful tension line, exactly what we want. What I can do right here is I can cut, because we have a window. So we can actually divide this area, these two sections. And I'm going to cut a little teardrop shape. This way the film doesn't run. And make sure I stay above the window trim, obviously. Perfect. So now we have an option to come from the top or the bottom. We've got to pull it this way slightly. So I'm going to just give a little tension right there. Our line rolled over and underneath. Awesome. Gas cap or gas tank area. And I don't want to just focus right here. We have to watch what's happening back here. So if we notice, I'll have to pull this line this way slightly. And again, the cap will give you a bit of stretch, just not a whole lot. I'm going to finish up the top here so I can get rid of the tension. Just looking behind. Cool. Perfect. Pull that out. Yep, there we go. Bring all this up. Again, there's no shield guard being used right now because we have the cap on. There's no point. I can use it if I want to, but it's not really necessary at this point. all I'm gonna do is try and roll this body line. So we're gonna let this come down a little bit. Yep, try and make it as nice around the gas tank as possible, because this will throw things off slightly if we don't do this properly. So a little higher, yep, right there. Let's try and find that body line again. There we go. So there's our wheel well. And then we're gonna get it's gonna be a little more complicated over here because the panel contours. So I may have to remove the cap sort of over here. See kind of what we can do here. Depends on how we squeegee the actual cap itself, because it will contour. It's just that's all it's doing is contouring. We run a lot of risk when we try and squeegee the cap because it can wrinkle. Why am I doing it? Because I like to take chances, and I want the finish to come out a little bit smoother than if we were to remove it. So. Yeah, it's not looking like it's gonna happen. I'm getting some crazy peaked wrinkles right around here, so we're gonna leave that. Right down here, yes, I can do this part very easily. So we still have the release liner here. Let's get the rest of it off. Cool. Mostly scratch free all the way until there. So that means we just have to polish that area afterwards. So what we're gonna do now is I'm removing those magnets there, and I'll take these ones. I'm gonna fix this up right here. Cool. There we go. I've got to pull across and contour this film just like that. Hold that there. So the cap's still here. The cap, the liner. Let's get that off. Let's keep going. We're going to keep it tight all the way through, just so that it has a nice natural hug to the panel. Nothing crazy, nothing over the top. As we get down here, I might have to remove the cap also because I need to stretch across and down the pillar. So we're gonna somewhat leave it around here, I think. Yeah, you can rest it, thank you. Perfect. So again, I'm gonna squeegee whatever I can with the cap on, and the rest is gonna come off for. It can be a little bit challenging to figure out how much vinyl you can squeegee before you're going to run into a problem. This is definitely a problem area, or will be a problem area, so I know for sure that I'm going to have to take the cap off to stretch this and fix it. You don't want to get stuck at the last second and then peel all the way back too far, so you just want to keep that in mind, that you're thinking ahead a bit. That's my idea to remove the cap didn't work that time. Let's do it this way. There we go. You're going to see just how much clearer the film will get as soon as we remove this. So I tried using tape, and they give you a piece of tape with this film to get the cap off, but it doesn't. You can only use it like once. And I tried other tape and it wasn't working, so here we go. And it ripped here, so I'm gonna get it. Okay, so over here now, did I bring my shield guard? It's over there. So I'm gonna use, again, a lubricant. Again, soap and water works, or shield guard, or some other kind of solution that makes things glide a little bit easier. And we're gonna take this and we have to stretch this down now, and kind of out. Heat gun, please, thank you. Thought I had it over here because I saw the cord. So Kirsten can actually help me with this and help me kind of get it glassed out as nice as possible. We're gonna just go up past that one wrinkle there, so just pop it, yep, perfect. And we're gonna heat this and we're gonna kind of bang this out in one shot, more or less. One sec. Got a couple more there. I'm just gonna push down, there we go. We gotta have a good start. So it's gonna be probably a little bit more on my side than hers, since I saw right off the bat that her side was already looking a little bit better. So I'm gonna be a bit more tension. She's just gonna counteract my tension. So when I'm causing wrinkles, she's gonna be pulling the other way, sort of. Exactly, and I'll pull my way, and then we're gonna expand all this. Because it's such a large piece, it definitely helps to have the extra hands. It makes things a little bit easier, a little bit faster. So I'm gonna pull that way, you can see it all go away. Pull your way, yep. Then we're gonna bring it down. Beautiful, I'm gonna stop for a second and fix up my side. Okay, we'll stop there. I'm gonna fix up that. Still gotta go lower here, but she's good on her side, looks great around the wheel well. As we have to heat this, we do not want to heat the film while it has water droplets on it, or soap droplets, or any kind of droplets on it. What will happen is it'll leave little dimples in the film. I can do that in another video for you guys. That will happen not just with chrome, but that will happen with like other films as well. Okay, feeling pretty good about this. Maybe I don't need to pull anymore on it. So just a little higher, and we're just gonna go come back past those wrinkles that were there and see if we can just apply pressure without adding any more heat. Perfect. So as you can see, I got a ton of extra film in here. A lot of this has got to go in order for me to get my hands closer to it. And again, with chrome, since we're not stretching chrome so much, yes, we can stretch to the edge a little bit. Not that big of a deal, but we don't have to do it very much if we set ourselves up properly. So I shouldn't have much to stretch to. I can probably work a lot of this out. And if I can't, then we're gonna add a bit of heat. So down here should be fine. I feel like up the most wrinkles is where it's happening to me. Just gonna fix this up here. There we go. All right, so we're gonna add a bit of heat in this area. Now the film will stretch, but we're keeping it around like, I keep it around like 5% or so. So all I'm doing is heating it and keeping a tiny bit of tension on it until these wrinkles go away. just a bit. And then we're gonna pull opposite directions here. We have to expand the film. This is my 3D stretch technique. We're wrapping three-dimensional objects, we have to stretch in three-dimensional ways, all right guys? So this means that we have to be pulling out and down at the same time so things contract back in all directions. This way they sort of wrap themselves that way. So again, as you see, I'm pulling outwards and then I kind of come down. That will allow the film to pull across the edge, not just back up. It's much more difficult for it to pull across the edge than it is for it to pull back up. Awesome. And just kind of lock it in a little bit. Perfect. We can head over to the front in a second. I'm just going to finish up the back here. And I want to open the trunk. Now I can roll it in without any resistance. We're already at the edge anyways, pretty much. Just now I can kind of pull through a little bit. And then back here we have a ton of wrinkles, so I'm going to deal with that right now. So we're going to need a bit of heat. With this yet, hold on. Bit of a tricky spot right here, this corner. Very heavy corner, very heavy bend. Chrome doesn't like it, but we're gonna make it happen. Highest heat always for me. If you have your own preference, it's totally up to you. I just like things to heat up a little bit faster and not sit there and wait for the heat gun to heat up. This I'm going to roll under. So as I come down and around, I'm trying to expand always at the edges. This way we don't have those wrinkles on the edge anymore. They were over there. Perfect. Getting to the corner down here, always the same idea. We're just kind of leaving a little bit less here on the corner, so we're not leaving the leaf too much. Over here, we've got wrinkles running the right direction. Over here, we have them running the right direction as well. Pop it up, push them out, and we're done. Good. Now we're gonna go to the front panel. All right, so we have to stretch this down and around a little bit. We don't have a lot to go, a little bit, you know, there's some, it's fine because we can contour from back here. I haven't laid any of this down yet. We're gonna start contouring from back here. That's why I left the release liner on. So we're just gonna remove the cap before we remove the release liner. Let's get that off, and then we're gonna remove the release liner, and then we're gonna have all this pliability now. So we're gonna take it back to where this starts to bend. The further back we go, the easier it's gonna be. There we go. And then we have to watch. Our hands, where we're pulling the film, have to be on the exterior part of the actual film, because if we put our fingers to the film, we're actually going to cause impressions. So make sure that wherever you end up placing this in the end, your fingers are on the outside of it. We're good. I'm just trying to keep it flat right here. Perfect. So you might be like, well, why did he do that? And I'm gonna be like, well, there's no tension down here on this corner. So I put all the stretch right through here, and it allows the vinyl to kind of sit around the panel. So I don't have so much slack. Like here's the window trim, and there's no wrinkles at all. Again, around the top section, same idea. I have no wrinkles at all. As soon as I pull it around, it's just pulling itself around now. So again, how I like to wrap is not how everyone else likes to wrap. There. About ready to just go over and squeegee the air out. So I'm going to grab that shield guard. I'm going to use it on the squeegee this time because there's not a lot of surface area here, and I don't want to just spray shield guard all into the car. It's pointless, make a mess. And you're kind of maybe wondering, like, you know, why didn't it break the finish stretching across here? Because it's a cold stretch. It's not like we did it and added heat. It's the overstretching that heat can cause you to do that usually damages the film. And that would be with any brand. It wouldn't matter what film. You could do it with gloss, you can do it with matte, you can do it with Avery, 3M, Hexus, APA, Vvivid, doesn't matter. It's all very vulnerable to heat and overstretching. So the heat is only gonna allow you to do that. All I gotta do is actually just cut like right around here, and that's gonna fold down quite a bit more. It's gonna make it easy. Again, I don't have to wrap that far into here because there is a flush trim that comes right up to the top edge, so no big deal. I've got, like I said, I've got knifeless tape in the roof line, and it's design line, and the design line is gonna cut it. Okay, so we're gonna trim out a whole bunch of this. I'm just gonna start at the back there. Again, we have the knifeless tape already down on the roof line. No drip seal trim on the roof, right? So we have to use knifeless tape. I'll start back here, but you'll get a better idea of how I'm cutting as I get through here. So all I'm doing right now is I'm gonna put my blade and rest it between the chrome trim, and I'll show you what exactly that looks like when we get there. And the grazing that you might hear would be just the back of my blade resting against the trim. So you got to find that sweet spot. With a sharp blade, it'll cut nice and effortlessly. I always have a problem with that word. All right. And so right around here, I'm going to try and move out of your way so you can see the back of the blade just resting on the inside. If you're getting too much resistance, you have to change your angle a little bit. So you have to make minor adjustments, especially as we come around like bends and stuff. It can become a little bit more technical and a little bit more difficult. So just take your time. This is the last stop. If we mess this up, we're going back to square one again. Right there. And then I'm going to come down and out a bit. There we go. That will give me enough to tuck in a little bit further. You know, in this case, I'll use a bit of heat. So we're gonna use the heat afterwards, and I'm just gonna go over all afterwards, just letting you know. May not show all that. I do wanna keep the video to a reasonable amount of time. Again, it's just going over the edges with heat's very important. Now, I'm gonna do the knifeless tape, which is right here, and I'm gonna cut through the chrome with it. It's a little bit more finicky, and I am using design line for this, which is pretty crazy. It's cutting it, and it's cutting it really nicely. So you want to go swiftly and follow through. that out. Let's get out our last piece of knifeless. I actually ran out of knifeless, so I set this up yesterday, and then I used tri-line. So I had tri-line kicking around, I just used tri-line to set this up. So that's why you're gonna see it so wide. It's a bit of a waste, but whatever. I went out and got more knifeless tape, don't worry. All right. Down here, what we wanna do is we wanna wrap a little bit further down. I like to, at least. So I've masked. That means I'm just gonna cut a little bit higher up and then try to tuck down the rest. Just make it straight. Just a little extra coverage, you know? It's nothing like, you don't have to go nuts. Just gives us a little bit more. So I actually loosened the fender. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut right through here so I can separate it from the hood because it's holding it down. I wanna loosen that fender. Now you're gonna see it move a little bit. Let's get the chrome off of it. So now you're gonna see it move even more. I actually took the screw out completely. So let's see how I can actually get my hands behind it a little bit better. Oh, I don't want that to fall out, the chrome. So right around here, I should be able to pry this out a little bit more. You don't want to pull it so hard that you're going to bend it, just pull it a little bit. Now we're going to add a little bit of heat. I'm going to pull this corner slightly through so it contours, just like that. And then we're going to go in there and feed the vinyl down. Just the added luxury of the little bit of extra coverage. And it's a silver car. That's not the end of the world. I'm not going to see a whole lot, but you know, it's one of the better colors definitely to wrap over. But I always try to make sure that nothing is visible from the exterior to the best of my ability, without removing doors if the door jambs are not included. So do a little relief cut here, and just a little cut and fold. There we go. Again, we'll go over all that with heat afterwards. We'll need a slight cut and fold right here also. Maybe not, it's fine. Okay. Let's finish up the back of the door. So I'm going to trim on my tape. Right there. Trim on my tape right here. We're going to tuck in, we're going to pre-tuck a little bit, and then we're going to cut out the rest. I like to cut out this bottom section here again. I'll do it on both sides, the door side and the bumper side, before I get into rolling the wheel well in. So we're going to use a more firm squeegee, lift the film off the tape. Gold squeegee is good for this, or the little sign maker tools, wrap stick flex, whatever you want to use. Credit card even can help, just you got to be careful with the credit card. It might be a little bit aggressive because it's kind of sharp. So again, I'm always trying to feed the vinyl in without adding stress. It's key. Because we're at a critical point right now at the bottom where if we stress the film into the recess, it might want to pop out. Or recess, or space, for example. Okay, so right now, I can just focus on separating this section from the wheel well. And again, as I get to the end, I'm going to come down because I want to make sure that I have coverage. If I go to fold the vinyl in, it might come up a bit and I might miss a little bit on the inside. What we're going to do here now is we're going to trim this back a bit. It's a very thin edge on this in this wheel well, so I'm not really worried about having a ton of film. And then we're going to trim out that side right there as well. So again, we're going to pre-tuck right here. Lift it off. Perfect. Make sure I'm good. I'll double check it with my finger. Come out, and then come out. Get rid of that. Again, going over all these edges with heat afterwards. Do not forget that step. So I'm going to finish the wheel well off right here. Now, if you are having trouble with your wheel well, what you can do is you can trim off some. You can do some first, trim some off, then do some first, then trim some off, then like this sort of. So I'll show you. So I can trim it off, then it creates more relief over here. Then we can go in a little further. We can do the same thing again. Go up maybe 8, 9 inches again. Now we've got more relief again, and so on all the way through. Right? I want to hold this piece so it doesn't make an ugly cut. Keep a little tension on it, always helps. And then finish it off. I'm going to go over this area right now because I might forget about it because it's not in like the visible sight, and it's a very critical area for sure. With the wheel spinning and water hitting it and dirt and everything else, we want to make sure that we're being extra thorough in that area right there. Now I'm going to come through and finish this off. Can be challenging to see where the line is, so the film is so mirrored that it makes it a little bit difficult sometimes. Again, if you're getting resistance, that means that you're hitting stuff, and you shouldn't be. The blade should be gliding. Let's come up. See where I ended, right there. Bring it out. Wrap in a little further there. So I can pull this bumper out slightly, and I can actually tuck in really nicely right around there. Obviously the higher end cars usually have tighter fitting panels. Does the heat gun burn that? No, but I do not want to touch that area as I'm heating because I'm heating direct. I don't want to touch it because I might leave a fingerprint impression when the film is hot. All right, so we're going to finish up all of this. And then we're going to get into here. The door area. I'm going to trim this back a bit more here. Again, I've masked here. This is a very difficult corner when it comes to tucking in, so always make sure you're leaving yourself extra. And my fear here is always the vinyl may rip or tear, so we have to be careful. We also want to be a little bit more cautious in this area because the squeegee, if we push too hard, could damage the film in the area. All right, so I'm trying to find that edge. Oh, it's lifting a little bit. See, there's the peak of the chrome trim. This is where it's really difficult to get the vinyl around because we have it tight across it, right? So we just try to trim it back ever so slightly. Very carefully. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start coming in sort of down here and see how much I can trim off around the bottom. But if I can get this lifted just a bit, just the chrome trim lifted enough, this might start to come off because of the tape. So let's see if I can sort of get this pushed in and worked around. Be very careful here. Okay, so I'm going to trim some more back. Still have a little too much, especially coming around the bottom edge here. I do not need that much. You might ask how hard I'm pushing. This takes practice too. If you're worried, then mask off the trim like 5-6 times. I mask off the trim more, just so I don't have to worry so much about maybe nicking it, but I also use it to for the vinyl to slide off of. That's mostly what it is. I can cut the film on the paint and just don't do it. But once you get really good at cutting, you'll be fine. You'll actually understand why you can do that or how you can do that. A little bit right there. So again, very critical point right here. It's very difficult. I'm going to try and flick this edge up right here off the tape. And as you can see why you would want some like finer tools just to help with this kind of stuff. Don't rush yourself here. It's going slowly. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to try and lift the chrome trim a little bit higher for over here. If I can't get it, then I'll just trim it off because we got the pre-tuck going on right here, see? Oh, maybe it'll go in. Oh, it's gonna go in, I think, maybe. There we go, this is stuck. And that gives us a little bit extra tuck. Okay, let's do the door. Gas tank area, obviously, we're just going to cut that out, lay it in. The door was the knifeless tape. That's basically the next major step, and the rest is easy. All right, so we're going to heat in here. So I'm just kind of stretching the film out slightly so that I can keep it glass on this corner, and then I'm going to let it off and lay it in, because this is where the film is going to peak right at this corner, and I want to make sure that I've got a good pre-stretch on it so it doesn't actually wrinkle up. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but you can do like an inlay in here afterwards or a cut and fold. All right, so we're going to lay in. So now we have a nice straight edge right here, and we don't have any more wrinkles. This is where we would have got all our bunching, like I said. And we can lay into this area a lot better. Doing this area in chrome in one piece right here that I'm doing right now is more of like a bonus aesthetic. It doesn't really matter so much. Like I said, it's more hidden. Once you close the door, if you do a seam, it's going to be hidden anyways. So don't stress yourself out too much if you can't really get it. The last thing you'd want is for it to fail. So, you know, it could not look good, and it could also fail. All right, we come down the rest of the way. Should be pretty straightforward, as this area stays pretty flat until we kind of get down around there, and then we'll make an adjustment again. As I get down near the bottom, yes, it's becoming a little bit more rounded and rounding out, so I'm getting a little bit more slack again. I want to make sure I keep that away, so I need to do a bit of a pre-stretch again. Just heat it so that the wrinkles go away. I'm not pulling it anymore than until the wrinkles go away. And then once the wrinkles go away, I kind of let go of it. I let it cool. So I let it cool, then I let go of it, and then I'm not stretching in there anymore. So we can stretch across panels and we can stretch across edges. We just can't stretch into recesses that much and out to edges. And I'm just trying to get over my knifeless tape that I have laid in here. Once I do that, we pull it and we're done. Alright, so we're about ready for the knifeless tape. Got a little folded over itself here, so I'm just going to fix it up quick. Likes to move when you don't want it to. There we go. Put the vinyl back, take my glove off, and we're going to go for it. Design line's a little bit more finicky, but it cuts nicer, so I like to use it. And then I'll be able to close the doors. Like I said, the next step will just we would trim up the rear window and trunk area, gas cap, or the gas tank area, and then go over all our edges with heat, and we would be done. So again, I'll finish that off. And then from the outside, we'll have that full coverage. No silver showing through, even if you put light directly at it. Super important. And that's it, guys. That was the quarter panel wrap with the cutout of the doors and the quarter panel, and showing you how we kind of lose the side skirt, the lower rocker in this case, because of the length of the film. You could see if I had an extra 6 inches of film, I could have got that rocker panel out of there. 60-inch roll compared to 54-inch roll. Big difference there. Unfortunately, that's what it comes as. If you like the video, don't forget the subscribe button. If you want to see more videos, again, don't forget the subscribe button. I got lots more coming, and if you want to see this finished, don't forget the subscribe button. Thanks, guys. Take care.